Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is Saturday, December 28th. And as we're closing out the year, I thought it would be good to have a little look back and remember some of the things that went on with the royal family over the course of 2024. Well, when we look at Harry and Meghan, wow. They had a couple of failed faux royal tours, you know. They would have counted them as a success just because of the coverage of the thing. But we came to discover the people they were involved with and the people consorting with them during the course of these tours, not savory people. And the motivation behind the tours to Nigeria and Colombia, well, those are in question as well, especially when we see year-end reports of their charitable activity and their donations and the money. I mean, no, their whole operation is shady, and the tours, just reflect the level of that kind of a thing. They're everybody they seem to be doing business with. Well, it's the milieu of Prince Andrew, gun runners and shady sheiks and dictators and just the whole thing, right? So Harry and Meghan are starting to dip into that real unsavory territory that the dollar is king, and they'll do business with anybody as long as they get paid, Real unscrupulous, and that really came to light this year if you were paying attention to Harry and Meghan, and it was important in the kind of things that they were involved in and the accolades they received. And as we discovered, those were PR exercises and they were bought appearances. They were paid to be involved. I mean, we saw Harry when on the beginning of the year, January 19th, 2024, Harry started out the year on a high note, receiving a Living Legends of Aviation Award from John Travolta in a ceremony in Los Angeles. Living Legend of Aviation. Can you imagine? First of all, Harry was like, I don't even think he was a gunner. I think he was like the map guy in the Apache helicopter. He never made his pilot's license. He never did. Harry was never in charge of anything. Yeah, he spent some time in an Apache helicopter, but he was never a pilot, unlike his brother William, who became a pilot. Yeah. Living Legends of Aviation, an absolute farce. An absolute, he was bought and paid for. But Harry has the complete, he'll accept the award. Unbelievable gall. I mean, and that was just the first one of the year. The next thing we were graced with Harry was the Pat Tillman Award. Remember that? The Pat Tillman Award for Service. Pat Tillman had been a star professional football player, NFL. After 9/11, he was moved so deeply that he signed up to serve his country in a time of great peril. Unfortunately, Pat Tillman was killed by friendly fire in an operation overseas, and it took his mother years to get the government to admit what actually happened to him. She set up a foundation, a sport foundation thing, Pat Tillman Award, in his name, and for some bloody reason, and you know the only one was a PR reason, and money changed hands, the award, Harry was nominated and won the award. Now, Pat Tillman's mother was so offended. Here's a British prince. And I mean, if you're an American hero, that's all you need to know. I mean, Americans fought a war to get out from under the thumb of British royal rule. It's just a fact. So here you've got a British prince that they're saying is on par with their son, an award for service. Harry hasn't done any service. Everything's been handed to him, even when he was a member of the royal family. And I mean, yeah, they tried to do a lot of good, sure. But you know what? All of that was set up by the palace. All Harry had to do was show up. You didn't even have to show up and do good. He just had to show up. And the palace would smooth out all the edges, right? Well, I mean, in the last few years since their Megxit and the Freedom Flight, I think Harry and Meghan have learned that just showing up, that just the photo op is not enough to sustain. Well, first of all, they're failing financially. Everything they do falls to shit, Meghan herself, she didn't win, place, or show in anything in 2024. Well, she crashed several red carpets to make appearances and to, put the claw and glam on to whomever, just for the photo ops. She's good at that. You can always count on her for that. And back in March, we thought it was going to be just a bang up year. Back in March, Meghan launched American Riviera Orchard with a 3-minute video featuring her, stirring away in the kitchen. And then skip to her walking through a, orchard courtyard in a ball gown, and who knows what it meant, but that was American Riviera Orchard. That launch, that launch was so soft you had to thumb it in. I mean, it was crazy, We got a grainy 3-minute video, and 10 people on her contact list got a jar of food service jam from a company that they tracked down locally, and it was swiftly proven that the product was available to anybody, and they sold the jars that she used as well. She used her calligraphy skills on the labels that, by the way, when you look at the pictures, weren't even stuck on the jars properly. The whole thing looked like a grade 6, project, right? And ARO is, to this day, it's going nowhere. It is just overlaid and besieged with legal problems around trademarks. It's a total non-starter, much like everything else Meghan does. Now, their joint project, their recent project that they co-produced, the 5-part Polo on Netflix, has been panned by critics and Harry's own Polo buddies alike that say that it's just ridiculous. You know? For those guys, it's just been one failure after another for Harry and Meghan. And to top it all off, this year, Meghan has been named as one of the most disliked people in the world. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And you know, things aren't that much better for Andrew either. He's been fighting to stay at Royal Lodge against the King's protestations. Charles cut his security earlier in the year. Cut his security detail, burdening Andrew with almost $3 million a year in cost. The king was thinking, hey, he can't afford it. He's going to have to relocate to Frogmore Cottage where I want him. I'm gonna be able to push him out. Well, in a last-minute rally, Andrew came up with the money. Then it was a question of the upkeep of the place, and we saw all those pictures with crumbling stucco. Well, again, Andrew comes up with the required funds. And now, not long after that, it came to light that Andrew had been consorting with an alleged Chinese spy, who may very well have been his source of, financial freedom. He might have been one of his financial benefactors, and we know that over the years that Andrew has acquired quite a few of them. Well, Andrew's reputation now, it's dirt worldwide, and now he's even being shunned by his closest family. We saw this over Christmas. He and Fergie, they were not present at Sandringham. They, not even just for the walk, they weren't there and just in hiding. They weren't invited. They never went. They're hunkered down at Royal Lodge, They are persona non grata. The rest of the family does not want to have anything to do with them. And Sarah, his wife, who he lives with, ex-wife, Duchess of York, she's not fared much better this year. She faced not one but 2 cancer diagnoses, as well as the constant barrage of bad news surrounding Andrew, who, by the way, through thick and thin and all of this, has been his staunch supporter. And in response to recent reports, she calls him a sad man. She did garner some sympathy at first for her cancer ordeal. But if what he says is true, her reputation is going to hit the skids when Andrew Lowney's new book about the Yorks comes out in the new year sometime. Now, the Princess of Wales, Catherine herself, has had a very rough year. surgery, a cancer diagnosis, a year of treatment, her disappearance, her being out of the public spotlight caused all kinds of speculation, and a lot of it persists to this day. She finished off the year on top, though, with her carol concert and appearance at church in Sandringham. So, everybody's hoping to see more of her in the new year at different events. The king, well, we all know he's had a rough year too. Himself, with his own struggle with his cancer and treatment. Through it all, he's managed a lengthy overseas tour, the visit to Chogam, the Commonwealth Head of States meeting. There are plans for more overseas tours in the new year. Although what I've been saying all along, and even before we knew of the king's cancer diagnosis, that I thought that his reign would be a protracted one. And I think the impetus behind this is going to be William. I think he's going to come forth and influence things greatly. At this point, they may use the cancer as an excuse. But I think at some time in 2025, I really think we're going to see the king abdicate and step down and pass the crown along to William. And when it happens, we're going to hear from the press, we're going to hear stories about how it's the Queen of Denmark that just did this recently. She abdicated to pass it along to her son, and that is going to be used as kind of a precedent. I've been saying this for over 2 years, and I think this is what's going to happen. So, I think that's where we're at. I think that's where we're headed. And for William, I think 2025 is going to be his year. Well, like, subscribe, share this video, leave me a comment. I want to know what you have to say about all of this. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye for now. And Happy New Year.